PPT. This is really nice to see you all here. It's great that you all are utilizing your time in lockdown situation. This proves your efforts and interest. I'm really happy that unexpectedly we found tremendous response from participants nationally and internationally. The theme of the webinar will help you to understand the concept of characterization techniques and its analysis, and hope participants will really benefit by this important theme. I must congratulate and appreciate Dr. Jiten Tripathi, Head Department of Physics, and organizing committee members which have been working very hard, and I will like to thank them for their dedication, time, and energy. I also wish to thank our chief patron, architect Shri Achal Chaudhary, who kept faith in us and allow us to organize this international event. I hope that this international webinar will be a grand success. Thank you all and all the best. Take care and stay safe.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Yes. Now I would like to introduce our guest, Dr. Sanjay Singh, who is the speaker of today's lecture. Dr. Sanjay Singh is an assistant professor of the School of Material Science and Technology, BHU. He did his MSc from DAV Indore in 2006 and PhD from UGC DAE CSR in 2012. He was postdoctoral fellow at Photon Factory, KEK, Japan, and Saha Institute of Nuclear Physics in 2012 to 2013. He was fellow in University of Duisburg, Essen, Germany, and Max Planck Institute for Chemical Physics of Solids in Dresden, Germany in 2014 to 2016, and as Max Planck Fellow in MPI CPFS, Dresden, Germany in 2016. Before he joined in IIT BHU, Varanasi in 2016. His work is mainly based on the designing and understanding the future-based intermetallic alloys for various technological applications like magnetic refrigeration, spintronics, thermoelectric, and magnetic safe memory. He has published more than 50 research papers in peer-reviewed international journal, including publication in high impact factor like Nature Communication, PRL, PRB, APL, and PNAS, etc. He is the first who started physics of spacecraft crystallography in India. He has received many awards like Inspire Faculty, Humboldt Fellowship, Ramanujan Fellowship, and prestigious Young Scientist Award, Young Scientist Medal by INSA. We are very happy, sir. Today you are with us. Now I am request to Dr. Sanjay Singh, please start your lecture. Please, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Singh, for introduction. And first, I would like to thank the whole organizing team, Madam and Tripathi sir, for this very nice initiative. And without wasting any time, I will directly go to my presentation. And so I share the screen. You have to enable the screen sharing.
Okay.
Please.
Now you can share the screen, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Okay. So let me start my presentation. So the presentation is basically as Dr. Singh told me that we need to give some basics about material characterization. So the presentation title is Characterization of Materials by Powder X-ray Diffraction. So basically in this talk, I will be introducing what is X-ray diffraction and how we can simply use some analysis tool to get the information about our material. So whenever we prepare any material, the first thing is to, after synthesis, first thing what we want. So we want to know what is the phase purity, crystallinity, crystallized size, strain, whether our material is single phase or multi-phase, and if it is multi-phase, then what is the volume fraction of different phases, then what is the lattice parameter, what is the unit cell dimension, what are the coordinates of atoms present inside the unit cell, and then some other microstructure thing. These all information we can get from an X-ray diffraction pattern. So now if we discuss the solid, so solid have different form. It may be amorphous, it may be crystalline. If we distribute the crystalline, then it may be single crystal or polycrystal. Then it may be also partially crystalline, partially amorphous, or quasi-crystalline, which is a different topic exactly. Okay. So if we compare the two types of systems which are present in the nature, so one is similar the less dense or non-dense we say, and the random packing. And if we compare these the energy diagram of these type of system, then we see they have some kinds of metastable state. On the other hand, the system, if it is well packed and ordered, then the energy is minimization. This is the reason why we have most of the materials found in a proper crystalline order. So now the materials and packing. So if you see the crystalline materials, so crystalline materials means they are periodic in 3 dimensions. Typical example, if you have seen metals, then maybe ceramics you have, then some polymers are also crystalline. And one example of crystalline is the SiO2. So you have well ordered. Then we have other kind is non-crystalline materials where we do not have periodic packing. And or sometimes we call also amorphous. As example, this is a SiO2 which has random arrangement, so it's a non-crystalline. So if we compare the crystalline and amorphous and polycrystalline materials, so here the first figure we see everywhere, if you see, this is ordered. Okay, so this is example of single crystalline material for the students who are attending this webinar. So the single crystalline means it is perfectly ordered in long range in 3 dimensions. On the other hand, if you see this figure, I hope you can see the cursor. So here you see this part is ordered, then we have some defects, then again ordered, then defect. So this is a typical form of polycrystalline system. And here these two are the order, and this is the right hand side is disorder or non-crystalline. Here we do not have any order. Now, in all solids, we have particular arrangement of atoms, which are basically, if you see the NaCl, you see we have very beautiful arrangements. Now, if you see gold, they have atomic packing. This is called close pack arrangement. So, in the nature, all kinds of these materials, they are arranged in particular, you can say in dimension. In the scientific word we use is the lattice. So all kinds of crystalline materials, they are arranged in particular kinds of lattice, which is basically we call the crystal structure. So if you see in your high school or high secondary book, you already know we have 7 crystal systems like cubic, tetragonal, orthorhombic, monoclinic, triclinic, etc. And all these 7 crystal systems are further divided into 14 previous lattice. For example, in cubic, we have
अभी रख दो, झूठ मिलके वाले लोग आएंगे ना, वो लोग हाथ धोएंगे ना, तो उनसे धुलवा देंगे, तो यहाँ किनारे रख दो.
Can you mute? Now I hope you can listen. Okay. So you have face centered, then you have body centered, then you have primitive. So all these kinds of within the cubic crystal structure. So these are called the Bridges lattices. Now, so how we can know that our material has which kind of structure? For that, we use the X-ray diffraction. So basically, we use the beam of X-ray. So the X-ray is basically electromagnetic radiation, and the wavelength is the range of 0.5 to 2.5, and that this X-ray we use for material characterization or to know the crystal structure. And the basically why we use X-ray, why not gamma ray? So the answer is that the wavelength, we know from our high school book that for diffraction, the wavelength must be comparable with the slit distance.
प्लीज म्यूट ऑल, कोई अपने को आप अनम्यूट मत करो.
So now the next question is, for lab, how we get the X-rays? So to get the X-ray is basically, we all know we have in the material, we have atoms and we have atomic energy level. So whenever we impact a high energy electron in the atom, suppose this is here, then it may knock out one electron. Suppose in this case for K7. Then in this case, your atom or material is in excited state. But as we know, all the materials wants to come in the ground state. To come for the ground state, what will happen? The upper level electron will come down to the lower level to fill the vacancy. And the same amount of energy, which is difference between two levels, will be come out as X-ray. So this is the basic principle, and in the lab we use basically X-ray tube. So we have the target material, either copper or molybdenum, whatever X-ray we want. Then we have this within the X-ray tube we have filament. We give current to the filament so that electrons comes out, and via the voltage difference we take these electrons to the target, and when this high energy electron hits the target, we have X-ray. So this is for the lab. Now there are different kinds of X-ray we use. So, but in the lab source we use characteristic X-ray. So as I shown here, that depends on from which level electron is coming to fill out the vacancy. The X-rays are called K alpha, K beta, like that. So these are K alpha, which are sharp, or K beta. These are called characteristic radiation. And we have also white radiation, which are not sharp. These white radiation X-rays are used in the synchrotron, but in the laboratory we mainly use this characteristic radiation. So once we have X-rays in the lab or anywhere, we can use this X-ray for different applications. As we know, there are used for X-ray in medical, or also many of you have been encountered in the airport. But basically we are talking about material characterization. So based on, so these X-ray we can use for different techniques to characterize the material. So here we are talking about X-ray diffraction. We can also use X-ray for EDX to know the composition of material, or XPS, which I hope you will be listening within next 2-3 days. This is X-ray photoelectron spectroscopy. But here we will concentrate mainly on X-ray diffraction. So for the students, basically, what is X-ray diffraction? So we have incident wave of X-ray. So we know in our material we have atoms and they make atomic planes. So whenever X-ray falls on these atoms, because of scattering, okay, we have scattered wave, and these waves interfere with each other and form diffraction pattern, which is similar to our double slit experiment which we did in our school days. Okay. So we have diffraction pattern, so we have maxima, we have minima, and so on. And the constructive interference will occur whenever this formula is valid. 2d sin theta is equal to n lambda. D is your interplanar spacing, theta is your Bragg's angle, and lambda is incident wavelength. This is known as Bragg's equation. Okay. So once we did the X-ray diffraction, we can get diffraction pattern like this. So if you get sharp peak, this is the first application I'm showing you here. So if you get sharp peak in your X-ray diffraction,
मोटर बंद कर देना, मोटर चल रही है ना.
So if you get the sharp peak, then it's crystalline sample. If you get broad peak like this here, then it's amorphous or non-crystalline sample.
चलो उधर जाके हप्पा खाओ.
Once we have this diffraction pattern, so one information is immediately we can say that yes, our sample is crystalline or amorphous. Now what else information we can get from here? So we have peak position. So if you see here, we have different peak at different positions. So this gives us information. Then other thing what you see, we have intensity. This peak has different intensity, this peak has different, this has different. So this also contains information which we will discuss, of course. And the intensity distribution. So you have different intensity, different peaks, different intensity. So this is the diffraction pattern. One thing is important related to the collecting XRD data. So the sample preparation and mounting is very important. So if you are going to do the X-ray diffraction or you want to characterize some material by X-ray diffraction, you must keep in mind that we have to prepare our experiment properly. Okay? Because any lacking in the proper measurement will give you wrong information. Then while the data collection, so you have sample in your hand and you want to collect data. So what kind of samples we can choose? We can choose powder, this annealed and texture effects, of course different thing if you want to compare. Then you have plate or thin film. So you can use also bulk sample, you can cut and use, or thin film. Then data collection you can do continuous, you can decide what is your step size. Suppose this depends on your resolution, of course. Then you have to also see what tube current and voltage you want. For example, by increasing the power, so tube current and voltage gives you the power. So by increasing the power, you can increase your count. Okay. So now the information, what are the information contained in our XRD data? So the solid is amorphous or crystalline, as I showed in my earlier slide. Then the next thing is we can identify the phase of your material. The next thing we can identify what is the crystallite size, then what is the strain present here. So these are, I am telling the simple thing what you can do by your hand itself. Then what is the lattice parameter, then position of atoms and much more. I will go one by one with this, how we can extract these information. So now coming to the application part. Okay. So first thing is phase identification. So now suppose you prepare a system and you want to identify your phase. So here you can see we have two examples. One is copper, for pure copper XRD pattern, and one is for copper oxide. Okay. Now suppose if you prepare a system where you have both possibility. So now from a standard sample you have this information. Now you go for your real material which you prepared. So this I am giving as an example which has been done by Ayurveda department in Banaras Hindu University hospital. So they did different treatment with their bhasm, so-called, and then they compare that how your peak position are changing. Okay, and they compare with this already known system. So you see, this is your copper. Then after Visesh Sodhana, so this is a particular kind of treatment which Ayurveda doctors are doing. So after that you see you have other peaks of Cu2O. So how they know the Cu2, this peak is related with Cu2O, from they know from the standard ICD data. Now you see after Marana treatment they have copper oxide, and after this Amrit Karna treatment they have this. So by this way, if you know the standard XRD pattern, you can identify phase present in your material. Now the second thing, while you are preparing a new material, okay, with the combination of two different things. Now your aim is to optimize the synthesis condition, because we always want single phase system. So here I am giving one example where the author tried to prepare the PMN-PT, this is standard multifluoric sample, using MNT and PBO solution. So from standard, you see the XRD pattern of PBO and MNT. Now you mix it and you anneal it. Basically, this is the solid state reaction sample preparation method. Many of you might know. For students, as I just mentioned that you know that this is a preparation method, synthesis method for oxide material preparation. So you have 2 XRD. Now, when you anneal at 600, you get some peaks. You compare with this, and then you can say, no, my sample is not single phase. Then you increase the annealing temperature. Then you again say, no, still I do not get the single phase. The single phase for this type of multifluoric is perovskite cubic phase. Okay. Then you increase the annealing temperature, and finally you got this XRD pattern, and you compare with the standard perovskite material, and you tell that, okay, if I anneal my sample at 1150 degrees centigrade, then I get the single phase perovskite structure. So once you know, like here you see you have 2 different phases, okay, that you can also tell. Now the second thing, we want to know the phase fraction, okay, if you have 2 different phases. So here I take one simple example of polymer. Here we have 2 kinds of polymer, PC, which is polycarbonate, and PMN, is a standard famous. And in XRD, so this is black dots, this is XRD, which we got from, author got from the measurement. Now, without any analysis software, you can just go, I think most of you are using the Origin, you can just try to deconvolute and try to fit with the peak. So you see here, if you try to fit this pattern, you get one blue broad peak and 2 blacks sharp peak. So this means you have this black is crystalline phase, and this is blue is non-crystalline phase. And as you increase the weight percentage of PMMA, then your XRD pattern is changing. So the simple way, you fit the peak, take the area under the curve of the peak, and if you want to know the percent of crystallinity, simply use this formula. So area of crystalline peak, then area of both peak multiplied by 100, this will give you the percent of crystallinity. Very simple. You don't need any famous analysis tool or something. So this is an example. Now, here the next. Here the XRD pattern is from, this is a mixture of pyrochlore phase and perovskite phase. So here you see you have very big, you have multi-peaks. Okay? So this method is not simple. So this method you can use, it's for amorphous and crystalline phase. But suppose you have 2 crystalline phase and you have mixture of 2 structure, pyrochlore and perovskite. Now you want to know what is the percentage of pyrochlore phase and what is the percentage of perovskite. So here a rough way is that you compare the most intensity peak of 2 phases and use this formula. So suppose we want to know the percentage of pyrochlore phase. So intensity of pyrochlore phase divided by intensity of pyrochlore plus perovskite multiplied by 100. This will give you the percentage of pyrochlore phase. So this is a very simple way. Of course, if you want more precise information of crystalline phase, then you have to use the ritual structure analysis. But most of the cases, we want to have a rough idea, because if you are preparing many samples, then using this rough idea, you can report your result. So after this phase fraction identification, now most of us in general try to know what is the crystallized size. Okay? For that, sometimes you go to for the SAME or TAME, but from XRD also you can do. And I believe that most of the researchers who are working in material science, they use this analysis. But let us see how we can simplify this and where we need to give attention. So to estimate the crystallized size, generally what we see the peak profile. And we know the difference, the 2 theta difference at half maxima is called the full width at half maxima. But so this looks a single peak, but this is not single. This XRD broadening contains many information. First thing, it has instrumental broadening. Instrumental broadening means the broadening which is due to instrument which you are using for data collection. You may have unresolved K alpha 1 and K alpha 2 peaks if the beam is not monochromatic. Okay? If it is monochromatic, then you have only one alpha peak. Okay? Or while doing the measurement, you have imperfect focusing of mirrors. Of course, this normal user cannot do, but this has to take care by the operator. Okay. Then the next broadening is crystallized size, which we are interested in. Then other is strain broadening. Okay. I will come in one by one into this. Then other faults like staking faults and other defects in metals, that those things also gives broadening. So basically, your overall broadening is not a simple broadening due to crystallized size. It contains broadening due to many parameters, and one has to be very careful. So basically, what peak we were seeing there is something like this. It has instrumental broadening, it has crystallized size broadening, it has strain broadening. Okay? Ideally, the XRD peak must be delta function, very sharp, but we never get it, and because of all these reasons. Now, what we do to get the crystallized size? Many of you know, but for students who are attending this webinar, we use a formula which is known as Serre formula. In general, people use this directly, okay, without going here and there. Where D is your average crystallized size, this is average. Lambda is your incident energy wavelength of X-ray. Then here B is your beta is your full width half maximum, and theta is Bragg signal. Okay. And here I showed one example. So you see here, anyone simply you can see here you have broad peak. Then as you increase the annealing temperature, so this is annealing temperature basically 500, 550, 600, your peak becoming sharper. Now you can use this formula and plot the particle size or crystallized size versus temperature, and you get something like this. So what you see, as you increase the temperature, your particle size is increasing. So because crystallinity is increasing. So this is done by most of the people in general. Okay. Now, but while we are using this formula, okay, this Serre formula. Sorry,
I have a question.
Okay. Yeah, please.
Sir, why when temperature rises, then particle size increases? Why?
Okay. So basically, when temperature rises, the particle size increases because of your accumulation of particle. Okay. So basically, you have atomic planes. So the first slide you remember, I gave the energy versus density. Okay, packing fraction. So as you increase the temperature, your packing is increasing. So the system is becoming more ordered. Okay. So if you have disorder, then you have broad peak. If it is order, then you have sharp peak. So this is related with the broadening. Okay.
Please don't ask any question right now. We have a question answer session at the last. You can send your question through WhatsApp.
Okay, thank you. So we can discuss. Okay. So I was telling that whenever we use this Serre formula, most of the time people forget that the broadening also contains the full width half maxima number also contains broadening due to strain. So how is strain effect? So suppose if you have a sample where you do not have any strain effect, then you get a peak exactly at Bragg angle. Fine. Now suppose we have strain, uniform strain, means these are basically atomic planes. Okay. So now uniform strain means you compress, this is compressed direction, or elongate. Okay. Then what happens? Your peak shifts during compression left or elongation right. So that thing you can manage, no issue. But if you have non-uniform strain, then what happens? Then you have contraction in one place, elongation in another place. In that case, you have broadening due to strain. Okay, so when you have broadening due to strain, then using the Sherrod formula alone is not the answer to get the correct signs. Okay, in that case, it has been suggested that we must use a method called Williamson-Hall method, which is the best method to know the crystallized size and strain together, and it is well accepted. If you have done in your, for researcher, if you have done the Williamson-Hall analysis method, okay, and using this you find the crystallized size and strain, then mostly referee accept without any problem. Okay. So what is this Williamson-Hall method? So in this method, so basically this BR or broadening, we consider due to your crystallized size BC and strain BS. And if you combine this, so this is the formula for, this is Sherrod formula and this is for strain. You combine this, you get this equation. Okay. Now if we rearrange this equation, we get BR cos theta equal to this part K lambda by T, T is crystallized size, and epsilon sin theta. Okay. Now if you plot a curve between BR cos theta and sin theta, then you get almost a straight line. Okay. And the straight line, if it cuts at 0, means T is infinite, means crystallized size infinite, means that you have perfect crystalline system, or you do not have any broadening due to this. Okay? But in general, we get something like that. So you have some section cut as the y-axis and some slope. So this section gives you the crystallized size, this K lambda by T. So it is a basically y equal to mx plus c kind of equation or line equation, and your slope gives you strain. So this way you can find both strain and crystallized sign, and in your analysis there will be nothing wrong. So here you see just an example of aluminum. So here you have annealed aluminum, here you have cold working. So generally when you prepare the aluminum sheet and all, you do some work. Okay? So, and if you compare the peak, then it is slightly broader. Okay? So I'm just showing how we calculate. Now we want to know what is the strain and what is the change in the crystalline size. So you prepare some table like this. You select some peaks, 2 theta value. These are HKLs. Then you write down your B, then full width half maximum in degree and then radian. You have to work in the radian. So this is for anneal, means this is standard. Now, sorry, you prepare the same thing for cold work aluminum, and then here you see the broadening equation has been changed because the BI is standard. Okay, we want to, because we are taking the broadening due to only crystallized size and strain. We are subtracting the instrumental load. For that, we use standard sample. Here, we have used aluminum as a standard. Annealed aluminum is without strain and particle size broadening effect. Then you plot this, and then finally you have this crystalline size and strain. So this is a general example which we are doing. Now, as mainly most of us are working in physics stream, or even basically say fundamental science. So I am giving here you one example how we can do a fundamental science using this a normal peak broadening analysis, and taking an example shape memory alloy. So this shape memory alloy has the different technical application. I will just mention one so that you understand the importance of this system. That if you have artery blockage, then you have only two options, either angioplasty or heart surgery, bypass surgery. So in normal case, if it is a small blockage, then you use angioplasty, and in angioplasty, you use a stent which is nickel titanium, that is shape memory alloy. So in general, shape memory alloy means they remember their shape with respect to temperature and external stress or strain. Okay. So now, if a shape memory alloy is magnetic, so the shape memory alloy, every property depends on the phase transition. So the take home message is that in these alloy, you have phase transition when you decrease the temperature or increase. So the high temperature phase is cubic, austenite called. The low temperature phase is lower symmetry, tetragonal, orthorhombic, anything it can be. It is called Martensite. So Martensite, the famous example is in steel industry. Okay. So if you want to harden your steel, then what you do? You increase the temperature and quench in ice water. This gives you the hardness, and that is because of Martensite. But I'm not going into that detail. You just remember that it has phase transition. The high temperature phase is cubic, the low temperature is tetragonal. Now, so this is example of real sample. So you have this magnetic shape memory sample. You do the magnetization. Okay. So with the magnetization, you can know where is the phase transition. So here you see we have phase transition around 30, means around 300 K, means at high temperature it must be cubic. Okay, and the tetragonal phase must be at lower temperature. But when you do XRD, the powder XRD. So one more thing here. This, whenever we do magnetization or DSC or any characterization, we take a bulk sample. Generally, we don't go for the powder. Okay, but for XRD, you do powder XRD. So this is for bulk sample. Now, when the same sample you ground into powder and do XRD, what you get? At 340 K, you get tetragonal phase. Okay, here we have 3 peaks. Okay, after analysis you can know, but I'm just showing you believe that you have tetragonal phase. On the other hand, which is not matching with your magnetization. Here it must be cubic. But when you anneal this powder, then you get cubic phase. Okay? So the same sample, powder XRD you did, it's tetragonal. When you anneal, it's cubic. Okay? So this is a puzzle. But if you look the state memory alloy, it says 2 things. So don't, I will not explain much with this figure, but only thing, as I told initially, that this sample shows phase transition with respect to temperature and stress. So in this sample, what happens, even if you are in the austenite cubic phase, high temperature, if you apply stress, it transforms to tetragonal or lower symmetry phase. But here it's external stress. Okay, but why we are getting that? So if we do the Williamson-Olm analysis, means only the analysis of XRD peaks, okay, of both the XRD pattern, you get. Okay. Then what you get from here? That in the as ground powder, you have large strain. Here, if you can look, this part, you see 5.4% strain. So here, sorry. And then in the anneal powder, you have 0.02%. This means what? That the low temperature phase is stabilized at high temperature due to residual stress. And this fundamental science we just understood on the basis of simple XRD analysis without any program or Rietveld or Liebel. Okay? Just we can fit the peak and take the broadening and all. Okay. Now, okay. So this was the example how we can know the crystallized size and weight and do the. Okay. Now the next thing is the lattice parameter determination, because we want what is the unit cell of our material. So for lattice parameter identification, okay. I hope you could hear whatever I mentioned. Okay.
Yes, yes, we are listening.
Okay. So now the next thing. So we understood the particle size and strain effect. Now the question is, we want to know the unit cell parameter. For that, we have to pay attention to the peak position. We need to mark properly the peak position. We need to deconvolute peaks if we have overlapping of peak, and then we can do the least square fitting to know the exact peak position also. It's simple least square fitting in any in your origin you can do. Okay, and there are also software, but I'm not going to the software right now. Okay. So, but all the things which we are doing to know the unit cell parameter, the basic principle is same. Either you do with program or you do by hand. But I would suggest that if you have a simple cubic, tetragonal, orthorhombic system, you can do by hand. You don't need any software. For example, you have Bragg equation, 2d sine theta is equal to lambda. You have this equation, 1 by d square equal to h square plus k square plus l square by a square. Now you got one XRD pattern. If you know at least one peak, suppose you have 200 peak in XRD, you can just put here 200 and you can directly know the A. Because you have 2 theta versus intensity. So if you know the 2 theta, you know the D from this equation. And if you know D and you know your HKL value for 1 peak, you can calculate your lattice parameter for Q. If you have a tetragonal system, the method is same. Just you need, because you have 2 unknown variable A and C, so you need 2 equation, means 2 XRD peaks. Similarly, for orthorhombic, you have 3 unknown variables, so you need 3 XRD peaks, basically 3 HKL values, and then using your normal equation which we were solving in our school days, we can find out ABC parameters. Okay. But here we need to take care about the peak position that we are marking correctly. If you mark peak position wrong, then we have lattice parameter values will be also wrong. Now, next thing. So this I showed that how you can do by hand, but you can also do these things using the software which is known as Liebel profile fitting. But in this case, you have to give some initial value of lattice parameter, which in any case you can use your hand and 5-minute calculation, and you can calculate the initial lattice parameter. Okay, and then you can use the program. Then after knowing the basically the lattice parameter, then you want to know where are my atoms. So for atoms, basically atoms contribute to the intensity, because see, we discussed the peak broadening, we discussed the peak position. Now it's time to discuss the intensity of the peak. Okay, so if you see the intensity of the peak, the relative intensity depends on different factors. First is the structure factor. We know the standard formula for structure factor. This is the unit cell structure factor. The small fn is the atomic scattering factor, and this HKL is the peak, this HKL value, and then UVWR position, atomic position. Then this intensity is also affected by multiplicity factor. For example, if you have a cubic structure, then 100, 010, and 001, all these Miriel indices comes at same place. So this is called multiplicity 3. On the other hand, if you have a tetragonal structure or orthorhombic, then 100 and 010 and 001 will not be same. For tetragonal 100 and 010 will be same, but not 001. But on the orthorhombic case, all 3 will be at different position. So these are related with the multiplicity. Now texturing effect. So this I mentioned initially while mounting your sample, that why we do the powder XRD. Why we cannot just cut a sample and put on the XRD? Because this is not powder, then you have texture effect. Texture effect means the particular Miller indices will have higher intensity or lower intensity, because it will take a preferred orientation. Okay? Then you have also absorption correction, but this correction, this factor is basically for synchrotron XRD, not for lab. And then you have temperature factor. So temperature factor basically, if you are doing it one XRD at 500 degrees centigrade, okay, and one at room temperature, then of course at 500 degrees centigrade your atomic vibration will be more. Okay, so atomic vibration more means the position for constructive interference and destructive interference will change. Okay, so this also you have to take into account, and all these things can be done using the Rietveld analysis of powder diffraction data. Okay, we do not have time to discuss this Rietveld, but you just understood that this is a software where you can give some initial value and then you can refine, like any refinement program. So, but for this you need good quality data. You need initial structure model. Structure model means initial lattice parameter, initial atomic position, initial space group, initial what? Space group is fixed there, then starting lattice parameter, and then atomic shell. And then you can just refine and then recheck whether the things are proper or not. And then again, you can vary the value and do the refinement. Okay. So if you want more information about all these programs, whatever I covered in today's topic, I showed everything which you can do by your hand, not by any program. But all these things can be done with the program. And if you follow this website, you will get many programs to do all these things. And for a simple identification of the peak, you can also use this IC data, diffraction data, okay, which is also known as, I think it's available with every XRD machine nowadays, this company said. And before I complete this, I will just introduce with my group here in IIT BHU. So we have this functional materials group. So we mostly, as mentioned by JB, we focus on many functional materials and their structure and other properties. And for some of the researchers who are from Indore and other places, we have other important facility for work for material science. Like we have furnace for preparing material, then we have XRD temperature dependent. We have same for compositional analysis and morphology. Then we have mechanical analyzer. Then we have PPMS. We can do magnetization in specific heat. We have 9 Tesla magnet, where basically we are doing magnet resistance and Hall. And recently we purchased one electromagnet to do the high temperature effect. And finally, I would like to thank for your kind attention. Now, questions.
If you have any question, you can post your question in WhatsApp group. We can ask that question to Sanjay sir on behalf of you. Sanjay sir, there is one question from Momul Singh. How to know that when to use Scherer equation or when to use Williamson-Hall equation to calculate crystallite size?
Okay, so I would suggest you always use Williamson-Hall analysis. Then you do not have any doubt. Okay, sorry. So basically, you are using the Scherer formula considering that you do not have any effect of strain, okay, which is not always true. So to avoid this confusion, if you are using the Williamson-Hall analysis, okay, then you will always get correct answer, whether you have a strain effect or not. So I would suggest you always use Williamson-Hall analysis. Avoid to using only this Scherer formula. And this is very easy, basically.
Okay, one question is from Sandeep Yadav. It is necessary always to calibrate the XRD before sample?
Yes. If you are, if you are starting your XRD, okay, suppose XRD is off for a few days and then you are XRDing, then it's necessary to calibrate. On the other hand, if you are already calibrated in the starting and it's still running, only you are changing sample, so it's not necessary. Okay. So when you are starting first time, then it's important.
Okay. Dr. Usha Singh is asking how you will be aware that particle is under strain. Tell me about convolute in origin.
Sorry, can you repeat this question?
Yeah. How you will be aware that particle is under strain? And tell me about convolute in origin.
Convolution in origin.
Yeah.
So basically for strain and particle size, to separate this, it's difficult to get only with the convolution. Yeah? Or in one sense, in the rough sense, you can convolute if you know the XRD of a standard pattern. Okay? Then you can try. But I would suggest that this is not a good idea to do only with convolution. And why I would say that why you are trying to do the convolution? Because the Williamson-Hall analysis is nothing but only convolution. It's very simple. Just you are taking different full width half maximum of different peaks and just fitting using a simple equation which you can do in the origin.
Okay.
I hope.
Yes, yeah, I think it is clear. Dhanya Jacob is asking, sir, why XRD pattern plot intensity versus 2 theta? Why can we use theta instead of that?
Why we plot
intensity versus 2 theta instead of theta?
Okay. So this is basically related with your geometry. Okay. If you see, okay, I just if you can pay attention to the slide, I think that will be good. The Bragg's equations. Okay. So now if you see your incident beam, okay, this is going here, but your diffracted beam is here. So if you see this is theta, then this is again theta. So the angle between incident and diffracted beam is 2 theta. This is not theta. So the theta is basically you are measuring from planes, but the angle difference between incident and outgoing beam is, if you just take it here, then you have this is 2 theta. So this is geometry. The diffraction geometry. So you have 2 theta. Did I make my point clear?
Yeah. Dr. S.K. Jain is asking, Williamson-Hall analysis for both thin films and powder sample is valid?
Both thin films and powder sample, in fact, I should say yes, because people are doing that. Because in thin film, you always have strain. So,
and Dr. Archana Sharma is asking, if we have less data point, approximate 5 to 6, the fitting is not good. So how much to rely on the fitted data?
If we have 5 to 6 data points.
Yes.
Means, is it means we have 5 to 6 peaks?
Yeah. If we have less data points, approximately 5 to 6, the fitting is not good. So how much to rely on fitted data?
The fitting, which the Williamson-Hall fitting is?
I think.
Yeah.
So the 5-6 peaks are, I think, sufficient, because I showed you an example of only 3 peaks. If you see the example, this aluminum example, we have just only 3 peaks. So 5-6 peaks are sufficient. And if you are not getting, like if you are getting large variation from the straight line, means you have non-uniform strain. Then you need more data points.
Okay. Pratibha is asking, sir, can you differentiate particle size, crystallite size, and grain size of a sample?
Okay. So this is the crystallite size. That's why sometimes people get confused. Whatever we are getting from here, this is crystallite size, not the particle size.
I think there are so many questions, Sanjay sir. So we can do one thing. We can forward. Please switch off your mic.
No, my email is there. So if anyone is having any question, they can email me also.
Yes,
I will be happy to.
We will forward all this question to you through email, and we can answer through email also. There is
sure.
hundreds of questions in the group right now. So first I. Just a minute, Sanjay sir. Hello.
Yes.
Okay. Now I would like to invite Dr. ML Sharma sir to say some words.
Namaste, sir.
Sir, please.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Good morning. Good afternoon to everybody. Honorable Dr. Sanjay Singh from IIT BHU, the first speaker of this series lecture on the theme Metals Characterization and its Analysis. Dr. Premlata Gupta, Director ISLE and Principal IPS Academy. Dr. Jiten Tripathi, convener of this program. All the members of the organizing committee and dear participants. I, Dr. ML Sharma, as Senior Advisor to ISLE and professor in the Department of Physics, take this opportunity to thank Professor Sanjay, who has spared some of his valuable time and consented to deliver the first lecture of this series. This is very important. The first lecture is always important. So thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
I also thank Professor Premlata Gupta, the patron of the program and principal of the academy, for her sincere cooperation and all-round help, which made this program to a successful start. Dr. Tripathi, HOD Physics, and his entire team of faculty and staff deserves a special thanks from me, as well as from all the participants, not only for organizing this webinar, but for choosing the theme of the series of these lectures, which is very useful to a very large community of the physicists working in the field. I am sure all participants will agree to me that the theme and the title is very, very important for all those who are working in this field of material science and technology. And the large number of participation confirms my belief. It is therefore my duty to thank all the participants as well for making our efforts a useful and successful. Finally, I would like to thank all those who have directly or indirectly helped us in organizing this program. And the success depends upon the remaining lectures, but I am sure that this effort will be very, very successful and useful for all of us. Thank you very much for the participation. And again, Professor Sanjay, you have given a very nice talk, just starting from the preliminaries and ending to real analysis, which pose problems to our research scholars. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So thank you all participants.
Nice to see you after a long time.
That's okay.
We are seeing after a very long time. I used to go to ISC when you were working there. Yeah. But I'm very happy that you consented for giving this lecture.
Thank you
again.
It's my pleasure, actually.
Thank you, everyone. We will share tomorrow the timing very soon in your Facebook, in your WhatsApp account, WhatsApp group. Thank you, Sanjay sir. Thank you, all participants. Thank you, Sharma sir. So now I will close the meeting.
Okay.
Okay, and if you have any query, you can ask through WhatsApp only. Okay, right now. I'll send all your question to Sanjay sir. जबीर अनम्यूट करो अपने आप को. Yes, you can leave meetings right now. The participants can leave.
सर हम लोग भी छोड़े.
छोड़ सकते हैं. 2 मिनट रुके. स्टाफ रुकना.
हाँ हाँ.
स्टाफ कैन वेट. सब भाग जाएंगे. संजय चले गए ना? दुबे सर आप अनम्यूट हो जाइए, सुनाई नहीं पड़ रहा हमको। आपका म्यूट है वीडियो ऑडियो।
अब आवाज आ रही?
हाँ आ रही है सर। अब थोड़ा पार्टिसिपेंट्स कुछ लेफ्ट हो जाएं, थोड़े बचे हैं, फिर अपन डिस्कस करते हैं।
हाँ ठीक है, चलेगा।
आ रही है सर।
Can we left now?
हाँ यस, participants can left.
Okay.
Mayank, please remove the participants from the list.
हाँ सर कर दिया, कर रहे हैं सर।
हाँ हाँ एक एक करके कर दो।
पार्टिसिपेंट्स को खुद ही छोड़ देना चाहिए।
सारे चले गए, थोड़े से बचे हैं बस। वो सब क्या वीडियो लगा के भाग गए होंगे।
अच्छा।
आई थिंक दे तो पता ही नहीं होगा कि मीटिंग इज एंड। बच्चे थोड़े से बच्चे हैं, बाकी तो चले गए हैं।
हाँ हाँ 38 participants still there.
हटा दे रहे हैं अपन लोग,
आधे तो हम ही लोग हैं।
बाकी जो एक्स्ट्रा उनको हम हटा दे रहे हैं।
हाँ।
कई सारों को लीव करते आता भी नहीं है ना। इसको हटा दिया,
मयंक शर्मा ने खुद के हटा दिया।
चल कोई नहीं, मैं तो ऐसे तो आपके साथ ही है, दिक्कत नहीं है।
उसको मैंने हटा दिया। 21 बच्चे हैं बस, जल्दी से जा रहे हैं। कोई अभी कनेक्ट हो रहा है?
मैं दूसरी मीटिंग कर दूं क्या क्रिएट?
नहीं मत करो, 2 मिनट में चलेंगे। कितने 15 ही बचे, अपन लोग ही बचे हैं बस, थोड़े लोग।
मेरी आवाज आ रही है आप तक?
अरे दुबे सर को हटा दिया गया? अच्छा है,
आ रही है सर।
आ रही है सर।
अरे ना
सर एक शबाना बेमीना को हटाइए। शबाना, डॉक्टर शबाना।
नहीं यार, अच्छा शबाना।
हाँ, एक बिपुंदा कौन है पता नहीं, समझ में नहीं आया।
पार्टिसिपेंट्स हैं, हट गया।
डॉक्टर शबाना को हटा दीजिए।
हटा दिया।
हाँ सब हट गए।
नहीं हटी है अभी सर, डॉक्टर शबाना नहीं हटी।
हाँ ठीक है,
ठीक है। नहीं हटी अभी भी?
नहीं हटी सर।
अभी कॉल का मजबूत जोड़।
हाँ वो रिमूव नहीं हो रही, क्यों?
हट नहीं रही है।
ऐसे भी एब्सेंट है मैडम।
ना वेटिंग रूम कर देते हैं, चलेगी। हाँ सर, अपन लोग ये ना, क्यों वालुस्कर नहीं जोड़ा ना? हाँ सर, दुबे सर बताइए।
हाँ बहुत बहुत बढ़िया, अच्छा मेरे को अच्छा लगा।
थैंक यू सर। कल मैंने लगाया था आपको फोन, आपने उठाया नहीं, आप शायद बिजी हो गए। आपसे बताने के लिए क्या था, क्या है क्या नहीं है। तो अपन ने सर बाकी पार्टिसिपेंट्स को ना फेसबुक लाइव में डाल दिया हुआ। आवाज नहीं आ रही सर आपकी?
मतलब ये एमएससी के बंदे आ रही है अब?
हाँ अब आ रही है।
एक्चुअली मैं भूल गया था कि आज 11 बजे इधर बैठना है।
अच्छा।
हेलो जवीर
सर, नमस्कार सर।
हाँ नमस्कार। तो मैं जैसे ही आया ना, मैंने देखा और तुरंत लगाया, तो बिल्कुल टाइम पे पहुंच गया मैं।
सर तुरंत ही एक मिनट में भर गया था रूम, तो फिर वो
हाँ नहीं भर गया, वो तुरंत भरता है ये।
यार जयवीर, उसमें एक मैसेज डाल देना कि जो लोग आधी मीटिंग में आधे घंटे बाद छोड़ के जाते हैं वो ज्वाइन ना करें।
अच्छा ठीक है सर।
ऐसे भैया जिनको ज्वाइन करना रहता है ना, वो बेचारे बाहर वेटिंग में बैठे रहते हैं, और वो जो ज्वाइन कर लेते हैं वो आधे घंटे बाद भाग जाते हैं छोड़ के सर्टिफिकेट के चक्कर में। इसमें एक मैसेज डाल देना व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप में कि वो ज्वाइन ही ना करें भाई, है ना। क्योंकि तुम देखो ना, 300 आधे घंटे तक 300 था, आधे घंटे बाद वो 270 हो गया, 30 लोग निकल गए मतलब मीटिंग से, सीधी सी बात है। तो वो जो 30 दूसरे बेचारे फेसबुक पे बैठे सुन रहे थे, वो यहाँ सुन सकते थे ना अपन को।
हाँ वो लाइव बात कर सकते थे।
हाँ
anyway, सही बात।
चलो सर, अच्छा था आज का।
नहीं बहुत
बहुत बड़ी, संजय का लेक्चर बहुत इन्फॉर्मेटिव था, बहुत ही अच्छा लेक्चर दिया
बहुत बिल्कुल बेसिक से शुरू किया उन्होंने,
जो अपन को चाहिए था। वैसे
एक्चुअली मेरा ये फील्ड नहीं है, पर मेरे को बहुत मजा आया इसमें।
सर कल का जो टाइमिंग है वो हम आपको शेयर कर देंगे। वो कल जो है वो इंटरनेशनल वाला है, जर्मनी वाला बंदा है अपने साथ।
सुबह सुबह उठना पड़ेगा?
नहीं दोपहर का 1:30 बजे का।
दोपहर को सोना नहीं है?
अच्छा ठीक है। हाँ 1:30 बजे। हाँ 1:30 बजे। हाँ बिल्कुल नहीं सोना यार, वो सही बात है।
यदि उसको कुछ टेक्निकल इश्यू होगा तो फिर हम लोग स्पीकर चेंज करेंगे, वो विल डिसाइड एंड हम बताते हैं आपको कि क्या है उसका, है ना।
कोई दिक्कत नहीं।
और यदि स्पीकर चेंज हुआ तो 2 ग्रुप में अलग अलग करा देंगे हम लोग, 250 लेके।
ठीक है
ठीक है
सर।
हाँ
ये प्रिंसिपल मैडम
मैं इसके कुछ शॉर्ट जो है वो IAPT पे डाला हूँ।
हाँ सर बिल्कुल।
हाँ सर
बिल्कुल सर, डालिए ना। IAPT की तो इवेंट है सर, डालिए ना
सर।
इसके कुछ शुरू के शॉर्ट है मेरे पास, स्पीकर टॉपिक वगैरह सब है उसमें।
ठीक है सर।
क्या चलिए मैं बाहर हो जाऊं?
हाँ सर ठीक है।
ओके थैंक यू वेरी मच।
नमस्कार सर। थैंक यू सर।
नमस्कार।
हाँ जयवीर क्या कह रहे थे?
सर प्रिंसिपल मैडम का मैसेज आया था कि इसकी न्यूज़पेपर में छपाना है, न्यूज बनानी है। तो हाँ तो मैंने दीपी मैडम बना रही थी।
सर हिंदी में बनाए इंग्लिश में?
हिंदी
में ठीक है।
जयवीर तुमने 2 जगह से लॉगिन किया है क्या? एक जगह डबल आवाज आ रही है।
सर मैंने 2 जगह तो नहीं किया, मैं तो एक जगह ही बैठा हूँ। तो अभी आ रही है
ना, इसलिए आ रही है।
चलो तो फिर अच्छा हुआ आज का नहीं सबका।
बहुत बढ़िया रहा सर।
कांग्रेचुलेशन सर।
सबको ढेर सारी बधाई, आखिर अपन ने करा पाए।
हम सबको बधाई सर, हम सबको बधाई।
आप सबको बहुत बधाई, अपन लोग करा लिए, अच्छा हो गया एक।
और फेसबुक पे भी अच्छा चला सर, मैं बीच बीच में ध्यान दिया।
मैंने भी देखा, इसको चलाते जा रहा था फेसबुक, बढ़िया चल रहा था फेसबुक में, और लोग जबरदस्ती कह रहे थे कि वो नहीं चल रहा है।
हाँ, अच्छा चल रहा था।
साइड में प्रॉब्लम होगी क्योंकि अपने यहाँ बिल्कुल लाइव चल रहा था, मैंने देखा नहीं बंद हुआ।
और मेरे यहाँ नेटवर्क का भी इशू नहीं होता ना, बढ़िया अच्छा हाई स्पीड डेटा चलता है ना, तो
और आवाज भी अच्छी थी सर, वॉइस भी क्लियर था फेसबुक पे।
चलो तो तकरीबन 400 पार्टिसिपेंट तो जुड़ ही गए होंगे, नहीं ज्यादा?
सर अब तो आप दिख रहा है वीडियो पूरा ही।
हाँ?
जो रिकॉर्ड
फेसबुक पे दिख रहा है
तो पहले भी दिख रहा था क्या? शशांक अनम्यूट हो जा। कर दिया मैंने
सर। कुछ लोग फेसबुक पे भी कमेंट करके और लीव कर गए।
क्या कमेंट करके?
मतलब ये अपना
हाँ
अपना नाम लिख के जी।
हाँ भाग रहे थे ना वहां से,
क्योंकि कुछ लोग थ्रू लाइव थे, मैं देख रहा था, और कुछ लोग तो मतलब बस गायब थे।
मैंने देखा एक टाइम पे कुछ 95 उसमें लाइव दिखा रहे थे, है ना, फेसबुक में।
सर ठीक है, एवरेज यदि 400 है तो बहुत ही अच्छा है अपना रिस्पांस।
और कई सारे लोग ज्वाइन नहीं कर पा रहे थे। ठीक है, अब अपन बनाते हैं फिर। चलो तो ऑल द बेस्ट, बंद करते हैं मीटिंग अभी अपन, खाना वाना खाएंगे चल के।
जयवीर सर मुझे उनका आपने इंट्रोडक्शन जो बोला ना वो मुझे भेज देना, तो मैं अभी न्यूज बनाऊंगी तो उसमें लिख लूंगी 1-2 लाइन।
मैडम न्यूज में ना आप पूरा बनाना कि 7 दिन की सेमिनार है, ये टॉपिक है, इसमें से इंटरनेशनल स्पीकर भी आएंगे, और जो शुरुआत
हाँ वो तो पूरा पर आज हाँ बिल्कुल सर।
सर हिंदी इंग्लिश दोनों बनाना है।
सर मैडम साइड पे डलवाने की बोले।
आवाज नहीं आ रही है, तुम लोग पता नहीं क्या बोल रहे हो।
वो डबल डबल आवाज आ रही है।
हाँ।
हमारे सिंगल आवाज आ रही है हमें। तुम लोगों ने कुछ गड़बड़ कर रखी है। डबल डबल किसने ज्वाइन कर रखा है देखो एक बार।
अभी आई।
ये प्रदीप दुबे सर के यहाँ साथ नहीं आ रही है, अभी गए नहीं है।
चले गए चले गए।
उनको रिमूव करना पड़ेगा।
हाँ प्रदीप दुबे सर म्यूट कर देते हैं। चलो
अभी आई नहीं रहे।
अरे वो बाहर कैसे
कर दिया मैंने बाहर।
पूछा बाहर कैसे होते, बाहर हो ही है।
नहीं मैंने करा।
हमने करा हमने।
वेटिंग रूम में कर दिया। चलो तो बढ़िया है। हाँ जो क्वेश्चन पूछना दीपी मैडम पूछ लो। कमेंट तो अच्छे अच्छे डाल रहे थे लोग, फेसबुक में भी मैंने पढ़े, इसमें भी पढ़े कि बड़ा इन्फॉर्मेटिव है ये है।
वो न्यूज तो मैं पूरे 7 दिन के हिसाब से बनाऊंगी, पर आज जैसे फर्स्ट स्पीकर थे उनके बारे में 2 लाइन लिख दूंगी। तो जयवीर सर ने जो इंट्रोडक्शन बोला ना वो मुझे व्हाट्सएप कर दे या मेल कर दे।
हाँ मैं मेल कर देता हूँ। मैं
व्हाट्सएप कर दो।
हाँ ठीक है, मेल कर देना। तो
हाँ व्हाट्सएप कर
ठीक है।
दो। आप बोलो
ये क्या चल रहा है?
गुप्ता मैडम की आवाज आई ना?
हाँ नमस्कार शर्मा सर।
लाइव चला के देख रहे हो क्या सर?
किसी
कोई
ने
चला रहा होगा, किसी ने चलाया होगा।
फेसबुक चलाया हुआ है। गोविंद तुमने चलाया क्या?
क्या सर? फेसबुक नहीं सर,
किसी ने फेसबुक चलाया, उससे आवाज आई। नमस्कार शर्मा सर। चलो तो बंद करते हैं मीटिंग हमें ना।
हाँ सर ठीक है।